Okay, this is going to be the review for sample test 3 for Precalculus. So here's our first question. It's asking us to find this information, the intercepts and the asymptotes for this. So question number 1 will be one that involves a slant. So you'll automatically will know it's a slant also because highest power on top is higher than the highest power on the bottom. So we know again that there's going to have to be a slant. So let's go ahead and take care of the intercepts first. Now for a rational function like this, if you want to find the x-intercept for this one, the rule is you're going to set the top equal to 0. Okay, so that's always what you're going to do for finding x-intercepts when you have a rational function. Rational meaning you got something on the top and something on the bottom of a fraction. Okay, so top equals 0. We have 6x squared minus 17x plus 5 equals 0. So for this, what we have to do is do some factoring. So you can do whatever your favorite factoring method is on this one. You could even use quadratic if you wanted to also, but I always like to go for factoring first because it's going to be easier. Now this one, I'm going to factor this by doing trial and error. Now some of the other reviews I've done, I've showed you bottoms up method or grouping method. Here's another method you can use, is trial and error. You basically pick two things that multiply to make 6x squared. So trial and error means you might have to try a couple different things before it works. You could try x and 6x or 2x and 3x. And then the 5, we'll just do 1 and 5 and we don't know exactly where it's going to go. Let's try this combination first. Let's try 1 and 5 and see if we get the middle term that we need. So if I multiply this, I get 6x squared. I get a 10 and a 3. Now 10 and 3 is not going to give me a 17. So I know there that I need to swap these. So let's switch those and see if we can get a combination of 17. Now obviously both of these are going to have to be negative because the middle term is negative. Negative and negative gives you a positive. So let's try that. 6x squared minus 2 minus 15 does give you a negative 17. So now we know this is factored correctly. You're going to set both of these equal to 0 and solve both of those individually. So if I take this and set it equal to 0, I'll get x is equal to 5/2 by adding 5 divided by 2. And if I solve the other one, then I get positive 1/3. So I get 5/2 and 1/3. Those would be my two answers for the x-intercepts. Next, let's try y-intercept. Y-intercept, you're going to solve this the same way you do any other one, whether it's rational or not. You're going to put a 0 in for x. So we're going to put a 0 in for all the x's. So I'm just going to look at that. If I put zeros into these two first terms are going to cancel. This bottom one will cancel. I end up with a negative 5/3. So the y value I get by putting that in is negative 5/3. So that's my next answer. Alright, so now I'm ready to do the asymptotes. Okay, so the VA represents vertical asymptote. Now for the VA, what you're going to do always with this is you're going to take the bottom and set the bottom equal to 0. So the bottom is going to be 2x minus 3. So we're going to do 2x minus 3 and we're going to set that equal to 0. Now when I do, I'm going to get 3/2. Now a common mistake is people will just put 3/2 down for the vertical asymptote. This is actually incorrect. The reason why is because this needs to be an equation of a line. So when you solve it, you'll have an x equals that comes in front. You need to put the x equals there. If you don't put x equals, then you're going to get a point deduction on it. You need to have the x equals because vertical asymptote, it's an actual equation of a line. So you need some kind of x value in front of that. Okay, so now that we're done with this, we're ready to do the slant. Now for slant, what you need to do is do long division on this one. So we're going to take take and divide that. So I'm going to do that over here. 2x minus 3, and I'm going to divide that into 6x squared minus 17x plus 5. Okay, now to do this, you're going to first start out by doing what you would normally do for regular division. You want to see how many of the first one goes into this number that we have here. So I want to see, what do I have to multiply a 2x by in order to get 6x squared? Well, I need a 3 first of all, and I also need an x. So that way if I multiply 3x times 2x, I'll get the 6x squared. You always want to match the first one. It doesn't matter what the second term is. You're always trying to get something to cancel out the first term. Once we get to 3x, we're going to multiply it by both things on the outside, and we get 6x squared, and then you're going to multiply it by this, you get negative 9x. Now, in long division, you're always subtracting. Okay, so we want to subtract this. You got to be really careful when you do this operation here. You're taking negative 17 minus a negative 9. So that's negative 17 plus 9 actually is what you're doing, and you're going to get negative 8x as a result. So again, negative 17 minus negative means it's negative 17 plus 9, so you get negative 8. We'll bring down the plus 5, and then we do the division again. So we want to do 2x. What do we have to multiply 2x by to get negative 8x? It's going to be minus 4. And you're going to multiply that, and you get negative 8x plus 12. And if you subtract that, 5 minus 12, you get remainder negative 7. Now when you write your answer here for slant, first of all, remember you got to have a y equals there, because if we just put 3x minus 4, not an equation, you need the y equals there, and you get 3x minus 4. Now whenever you do the long division here and you're trying to find the slant asymptote, you're never going to use the remainder. So whatever you end up with up here, that's what your answer is going to be. Of course, you'll put a y equals there. Now the reason why we don't include this is because if we were to write this whole thing out, we would have 3x minus 4 minus 7 over 2x minus 3. So as x gets very, very large, if you have negative 7 over 2x minus 3, eventually the bottom's going to get so big to where that remaining part is going to end up going to 0 anyway. So therefore, that's why we don't ever have to write that. So when you do the slant asymptote, all you're going to worry about is just the part that appears on top like that. So again, don't forget the y equals there. Y equals 3x minus 4.